Hello everyone, my name is Luis Carlos Nájera, and today we're gonna learn about the dictionaries. The dictionaries are something very similar to lists. The main difference are the definers. In this case, the definers are those brackets, the classic brackets. As we can remember in the last video, the definers of the list was those square brackets. So, what is the difference in the usage or the difference in the structure? That's a very interesting question. As we can remember in the lists, the places that we have stored data was defined by numbers. Like in this case, the first one was the number zero, or the bit, or the storage space number zero. In this case, in the dictionaries, we can modify that. What I say when I say modify, what I refer to? Well, that's a very good question. In this case, as you can see here, it's something similar to a list, but you define the name of the first thing, right? In this case, I don't want the first place to be called zero, as in a list, as we can remember here. This is the place zero, this is the place one, this is the place two, the place three, etc., etc. So here, we got the first place is going to be called integer, the second one is going to be called floating, the third is going to be called char, the fourth is going to be called string, and the fifth is going to be called list number one. Okay, so that's example of all the data. We can store even more, but those are like the main ones that we're gonna use in this course. In this case, we got the integer number four, the floating with floating point. You should know for now. You should know the variables. And here's an empty dictionary. How do you define it? It's very easy. Instead of defining it like a list that you put here, empty, between the brackets, the number of the space, you're going to put the name you want to give to that number. In this case, I want to give that number the name int or the space int in my dictionary. So let's begin. We are going to run our program. Let me pull here my bash. Here we have my bash. Okay, I never show you how to do this before, but I'm gonna do it today. So how are we gonna run Python programs in our terminal? That's very easy. In this case, we're gonna say cd for change direction, and the folder we got it. In this case, I got it in a folder. It's in desktop slash tc101 slash tc101 pi. So we run it, and we right there are in my folder, in the folder we want to be. So, okay, let's continue with this. The name of the archive is entry-dictionaries.py. So we're gonna save it. We're gonna open our terminal. We are where we left, and we're gonna say Python 3 because we want that program to be run by Python 3 and the name m3 dictionaries.py, right? And we're gonna run it. As you can see here, this program will perform a series of operations with dictionaries. In this case, my first example, I'm asking to print the integer space of this dictionary. In this case, the integer space is this 4 right here, right? And you can see it's right here, this 4. The same goes for the second example. I'm asking to print the floating point. In this case, my floating space is 4.4444. So here's what I got printed, right? The third one is my char, called also char. So I ask it to print char, right? And it's printing char. It's something very similar to a list. As you can see here, the difference is that you define it with those classic brackets, but when you ask to print it or when you want to add something new to them, you need to use the regular brackets, the square brackets, sorry. Like it was a simple list. That's why we call it the son of the list. Because something's gonna make it easier. Why? Because there are some things that, like in the case of a dictionary, you want to store data in a specific word. In this case, if we want to make some translations or something between English to Spanish, we can store in the name, or in the first space we can name it number 0, and in Spanish it's called cero. and then number one, and in the Spanish call it uno, and that way we can follow it. So it's easier to relate it with data, but it's not easier to use it in numbers. So it's about preferences. I prefer to use lists when I'm using numbers, and I prefer to use dictionaries when I'm using data. But you can use it as you want. You are free to do so. As you can see here, we can use the same conditions like before. In this case, I'm asking here, right here, I'm asking if there's a 4 in result. That is gonna say that it's false, right? Yeah, it's false. No, sorry. That is gonna, yeah, that's gonna say that it's false. Why? You know why? It's very easy. Because that 4 is not in result. That 4 is exactly in a specific area of the result. So you cannot apply all those operations like the and everything like that, but you can do everything you want. In this case, like here, I'm asking to a multiplication between the space integer and the space floating point. In this case, this is our result in the 8 example. That is correct, as always. Our 9 example, we are asking to print the result list times 3, and we're not going to get a mathematical equation. Why? Because we're going to get right here 3 times our list, like here, just as we saw in the last video. So it's something very, very similar. As you know here, for last, we are printing empty, but first I assign to empty an integer and number 5. So it's gonna say, okay, empty has an number 5 in the space called or alias it integer. So that's all for today. I hope you understand dictionaries. Remember, if you want to have access to my code, you can go to github.com/lcnajerao, or I'm gonna leave it something on the blog and in the videos, a link so you can log to it. Thank you for watching and good luck learning. Thanks.